Welcome to another episode of OG55. I got the one and only Hey Bricky in the house. We are talking all about 3D attractions, the future of 3D attractions at the Disney parks. We're going to talk about that drone testing out there in California, soaring over America. We have a lot to discuss today. Up next, we got Hey Bricky in the house on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. I got the one and only Hey Bricky. He is back on OG55. Bricky, how you doing, brother?
Good. You and I are becoming regular old co-hosts, man. This is now like 3 weeks in a row that we've recorded together.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. For those of you at home that have not checked it out, I was a guest on Bricky's channel the last couple weeks, doing like a lot of great live shows and stuff. So make sure you check that out. I'll be linking it down below as well. But Bricky, it's always good to have you on, man. I love nerding out with you, talking shop. If you can just remind everybody, just in case they're not aware, where they can find you on social media.
They can find me over on my main channel, Hey Bricky, where I post every Saturday, showing you Disneyland's past in a way that will help us better predict its future. And then if you want to see more of the nuance of smaller stories, kind of behind the scenes type of stuff, you can find me almost daily over on the Bricky vlog, where I show up 6 days a week. I am almost 3/4 of the way through my second season of posting 100 days in a row. I think I'm at day number 70 something or another. So just enjoying the challenge of getting up every day thinking, what kind of story do I want to tell? Excited to hang out with you today, OG. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so you dropped a really, really good video the other day about 3D attractions at Disney, right?
Well, not too good. I didn't see you and George break it down scene by scene.
That's true. We didn't do the two hour cut yet, you know. but really good video, man. And one of the things I love about how you approach a lot of these topics is you have a lot of nuance with this stuff, right? Like, for example, in that video, and I strongly suggest everybody check that out. That video, I'll be linking it in the description as well. But you talk about, hey, 3D, right? For Midway Mania, it works, but maybe for Star Tours, maybe not so much, right?
Yeah.
There's nuance there. All too much in the community, we hear a lot about like, no, screens are bad. We can't have screens. It's like, nah, man. We have a lot of tools in the toolbox. Let's utilize everything we can, depending on the context and the story we're trying to tell and what have you. But what do you think, man? Because we have what is it, Ratatouille out there in Florida? They're getting rid of the 3D. I mean, what do you think that means? I mean, do you feel like this is a sign of things to come, or is it going to be more case by case with Disney?
Well, first off, thank you for noticing the nuance, because I think that sometimes drives people crazy, because they want somebody that they can predict. Oh, this guy always hates this, or this guy always loves that. But people got to keep in mind, the reason why I started doing my channel and why my channel maybe feels different than some of the others is that I approach all of this from being a designer in the design industry for 3 decades now. And part of being a designer is understanding nuance and real world limitations, So I don't ever approach any of these topics as a fan. I always think, how does the business process this data? And then what is my experience as a designer and working in business and working with, C-suite executives and even working directly with Disney? Like, what is my experience there that this is telling me? And then also, like I do on my main channel, I study so much of Disneyland's past. All of us, corporations, individuals, where we're going in our future is very much indicated by our past successes and our past failures, and also just our past trends. So nuance, I think, is super important. And one of the things that I love about some of my favorite media personalities, I love the person that when you hit play, there's been a world event, you can't wait to hear their opinion, and you have no idea what it's going to be, But other people want clutch. They want to know that Rush Limbaugh is always going to tell them that the other guys are bad. And that's what they show up for, and that's what they want. They want no surprises. So there's the nuance. But let's talk about Ratatouille real quick. So it has really great real world sets.
Yeah.
And it's not using video projections or video displays as a crutch. It's using it as a tool. And they're really smartly, like, enclosed in some fun sets. So I would like to think that it is a trend of Disney realizing if you already wear glasses, wearing a second set of glasses just makes the entire ride not fun.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the 3D catches, sometimes it doesn't. You got two pair of glasses on. It's not fun. For other people, it's the tipping point of feeling motion sickness, and the motion sickness just ruins the rest of your day. And from Disney's perspective, sometimes it makes people call the day early, and if Mamaw's feeling sick, maybe the whole family has to leave early, because poor Mamaw's also the one who flipped the bill.
Well, and it also might affect their bottom line, because if Mama's not feeling great, now she's not going to want to eat, right?
Yeah, for sure. And she takes the whole rest of the family with them because she flipped the bill, because generational wealth's the thing. And Disney's gotten very expensive. So, it does set up a lot of limitations. Now, I want to think that it's clever and smart, but somebody did leave a comment on that video and they got me thinking.
Okay.
You got to be careful with your comments. For anybody who's watching, if you get into YouTube as a YouTuber, or if you just watch YouTube, got to be careful with your comments, because in some of my videos where I talk about historical things, in the same video, there will be multiple comments from cast members who go, I work there and Bricky's absolutely lying, this never happened. Or another cast member goes, I work there and this is absolutely true. I saw it with my own eyes. So you got to just know that any old cowboy can roam into the comments and say whatever. But somebody did say this has nothing to do about 3D going away. It has everything to do about Ratatouille being a trackless ride, and that sometimes the 3D glasses fall off and then that stops the ride dead in its tracks, even though it doesn't have any. So that is a theory that I think may have some validity to it. Yeah. But that ruins our conversation today, because 3D, it's just not the magic trick that it once was. And I do feel like they were leaning on it so heavily for a while that it kind of got old. And I know that you hear the same comments I do, OG, and you hear lots of different fans of Disney parks. When they're announcing a new ride, there's almost a murmur in the scene where it's like, man, I hope it's not 3D.
You're right.
And you rarely hear the guy goes, God, I hope it's 3D. Like, I don't know that I've ever heard that guy, but I've heard a lot of people be like, man, I hope this new Avengers e-ticket that I've been now waiting for a decade, I really hope I don't have to wear goggles on that thing.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And I think they announced that it will be a 3D ride, I believe, right?
I can't recall off the top of my head if they did or they did not, because, we're now on version 3.0.
Yeah.
I mean, but at least this one's happening, because, or they're going to be in a real pickle if they back out on this one, since they're already building the building. But I really hope that it's not. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but is the Peter Pan version 3D that they've mimicked this technology off of?
Yes, that is. The one at Tokyo is 3D. Yeah. So
but I would say
it might be.
Get your glasses ready, because we're going in.
we're going in. We're going in. But it's interesting, right? Yeah. The that theory with Ratatouille makes a lot of sense, right? Because I know even with Rise of the Resistance, if anyone drops their mouse ears or anything, that whole operation shuts down, right?
Right.
So it makes sense, it surprises me too. Like I like to use all the tools from the toolbox, depending on what kind of story we're trying to tell, and if it makes sense for that IP. But I'm really surprised, especially once we got Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway with that new technology, that like 2.5D technology. I thought that was really going to kind of revolutionize a lot of these attractions going forward, and they were going to lean into more stuff like that. Maybe not necessarily at the old school 3D, but kind of utilize that Mickey and Minnie's tech. But they haven't really done that. It's been kind of, that one and done kind of thing, at least so far.
I'm going to tell you something that it baffles me. And then I look back on life experience, and then it makes sense. And this is maybe going to sound like a little arrogant or high and mighty, but whatever. You are who you are. So I really love Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railway. It's out of that and Rise. I'm not taking away from the storytelling of Rise or the thrill of Rise, but Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is actually my favorite out of the two newer attractions, because Rise is a bunch of Disney's greatest hits stitched together in a very unique and amazing blend. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a lot of first at bats. There's a lot of things in there that they'd never done before. And I'm always baffled that it's not more popular, that people don't rant and rave about it. And a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at it. I'm like, first off, it is the wild, new, modern version of the classic Disney dark ride. You know, when we look at Fantasyland 1955, this is that truly 70 years later. And the idea of like, well, let's not use the animatronic technology to animate characters, but what if we animate the sets? Like, that's a whole different way of thinking. And then the technology that they had to create to make those multi-dimensional cartoons, like, or animations, I should say, like Goofy on the train window, or Donald when he's like in the hot dog stand. That is a video board on the background. That is a clear video board that's 2 feet from it, 3 feet from it. So now you're creating that depth of space. And that character is being projected on a piece of clear acrylic. But here's the problem. Projectors, when you're projecting on something like that, normally need white. There's not a white channel typically in a projector because it's RGB or even, you know, CMYK, like it'll have yellow in there if it's a more in-depth projector. So what they've had to do is they project a white layer, like a shadow layer, that the color projections has to hit on top of. That is unreal to think of that, just so that because they could have just put a video board. But the fact that Goofy's here and the background's here, it creates that depth of reality, right? So that ride is so smart. Now, the thing that makes me wonder is this Ratatouille goggles coming off true or not? How many people really drop their goggles? Like, how many people really drop their 3D glasses? That because like people go into rides with all kinds of things, and it's not like you see a lot of people drop things on rides or on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So are 3D glasses something that people drop a lot because it's not their possession, or they don't care, or they give up with them halfway through? Like, I'm a little bit curious on that, because if things dropping was the death of trackless rides, then they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Well, that's a good point. And also, I'm leaning a little more towards the money end of it. I think that the glasses are money to produce those things. I'm sure a lot of them get broken and they got to replace them and what have you. They're probably looking at the financials going, well, you know, we can retrofit this into a 2D thing. And in the long run, it saves us money as opposed to constantly having to reinvest in glasses.
Yeah.
You know, and it might be something like that.
I mean, it could be that, but it could also just be, you know, customer satisfaction. It's not a cutting edge technology anymore. And it also just slows things down. You know, I mean, I would think that Disney, over paying for and cleaning the glasses, they also care more about load in and load out and all that kind of stuff, you know? So I don't know. There was a moment when the Marvel movies were like kicking ass, you know, and the fact that they were in 3D was like, oh, I've got to get tickets for the Thursday night IMAX version of, you know, the second Iron Man movie, when it was really picking up momentum. Right. And then it just became like, are they all in 3D? You know, and it kind of like wore off, you know? And so I just don't know if it really moves the needle like it once did. So let's think about it. If you go down to 2D, obviously, like you're saying, you don't have to pay for the glasses, but you also don't have to, like, you know, have team members or cast members that like cart them off, allegedly steam them, you know, collect them out of that garbage can. Like, that's a whole process right there. There's the time for people to get them on and get them off. Probably sometimes a cart goes out late because somebody forgot to get their 3D glasses. There's the drop-off point. Like, there's just so many different points where it's like, we could just skip all of this and just let people ride the ride and see the projections as they are. And then also not hear the complaints on, you know, people like me that have optical problems inside of their eyes, people that get, you know, motion sickness, you know, people that are already wearing glasses. Like, it does set up. I mean, the bad thing about 3D is that if you don't use the glasses, then it's a truly shitty experience.
Yeah.
Like, if it was an opt-in, that would be awesome, but it's not. It's like all or nothing. And unfortunately, the all doesn't work for everybody. So it's kind of like a fake all or nothing, you know?
Oh, 100%. And then I'm even seeing like Universal. They're kind of moving away. I know they got rid of it for their Harry Potter rides. I know that was causing a lot of, motion sickness and what have you.
Yeah.
But they're even kind of moving away from it here and there as well. So it's just kind of interesting to see this kind of like industry sort of shift, right? Like they're kind of Disney and Uni, they're both trying to see other alternatives. Like I don't think 3D is dead, but I feel like these companies are looking for ways to sort of scale it back where they could maybe.
But can I drop another theory on you that is a like really wild card theory that is, I've got nothing to back this up on other than like just trend of where tech is going. Disney loves the Magic Band, right?
Oh yeah.
The Magic Band gives them all kinds of tracking information. It's an upgrade, buy your Halloween Magic Band, get your Christmas Magic Band, limited edition Tron Magic Band. What if all of the projection updates that I've been covering over on the channels, and what if reducing 3D is that they know that soon there's going to be magic glasses and that a version of augmented reality is coming. So you can just ride the ride the way that you want to ride it. No big deal. You don't have to buy the magic glasses. But if you do buy the magic glasses, you get enhanced effects because you are wearing the AI, or not AI, but augmented reality glasses that obviously will have a Bluetooth sensor in the armband that will be able to pick up from beacons, and that Bluetooth sensor will talk to the small display in your lens, where therefore will give you different effects and different things happening around. They've also been working on doing lots of different real-time mapping technologies where they could literally map your face. And when you go through the graveyard in the Haunted Mansion with your glasses on, it would be your face that's singing to you on one of the headstones. So if they really want to find a way to do Disney magic for the next generation and impress kids that were given iPads when they were 1 month old, this is where all of this is going. Everybody in the chat's going to be like, I don't want this. I don't want this. Too bad. That's where this is going.
No, that's a great theory. And also we have to remember too, a few years ago, what happened to Disney parks and experiences? They brought in the products division of the company into the fold, right?
Yes.
It's all, it all ties in. And now products is part of that overall experiences equation. And I'm sure that was done on purpose. And they've already kind of tested this, right? Don't they have like a web slingers thing you can buy?
Yeah, there's an add-on for web slingers, which is like a bracelet that you put on. And each bracelet is themed after a different character. What that really means is that each bracelet has a different, like beacon inside of it that when it gets hit by those Bluetooth sensors or infrared sensors, whatever they're using, I'm not really sure what technology it is, but whenever those get triggered, the chip inside of yours says, oh, you're Black Panther. So then it has Black Panther type effects. And all those effects are loaded in there. They're just waiting for you to come by with the sensor that says, oh, this user has version 4. So then everything turns over to version 4. Same technology in all of them, just a different outer shell themed after different characters. But then inside, there's that one little key that unlocks something different. That is not going away. Like, web slingers, kind of an interesting approach on it. But, let's also go back a little bit. Like with Galaxy's Edge, they made that lightsaber. And they're like, okay, every new land needs to have its signature toy or prop or collectible. And we need to make it as experiential as possible. I don't know if the little web guys, the web bots, what are those things called? I just lost the...
Spider bots. Yeah, spider bots, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if the spider bots quite took off like the lightsaber did,
Right.
And what is that for Avatar, So I know that over in that small, how they used to have the Avengers Walmart in the Hollywood backlot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they have the Avengers Bodega underneath the Quinjet. And in the Avengers Bodega, they sell the Infinity Stones. So, they're trying to make like, what is that must have? But so far, ironically, the land that everybody quote unquote hates, Galaxy's Edge, it's the only one that's really cut through because the lightsaber does have a movement behind it, But the spider bots, Infinity Stones, that hasn't really caught on, I don't think.
No, I agree. And the other thing too that's kind of interesting with that kind of technology, that augmented reality goggles, what's one of the biggest complaints about Galaxy's Edge? There's not enough kinetic energy, right?
Yeah.
If they had these goggles where you can customize your experience, you can have it, dude, you can walk through Galaxy's Edge and have stuff fly past you and stuff.
I mean, you'd be able to look up into the sky and you'd see it look like a true hub with all kinds, spaceport with all kinds of different, different aircraft going by. If you were doing the bounty hunting mission, you would actually see the bounty hunter that you were going after, and they'd be able to tuck behind something. If you were to do any of those little quests on your phone where you do something in the Millennium Falcon farts, you'd be able to actually, like, when you're decoding it, you'd get that like hologram of the little thing spinning around. There'd be a way for Force Ghost to have a conversation with you. Like, this is going to happen, and it's going to make 3D just look like, it's a talkie. They talk in this film. And so they'd be smart now to cut bait with it. So when they did Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, they didn't go with 3D. When they went with Web Slinger, they did. But that attraction also, as I said in the video, they knew they needed to kind of throw a lot at you because it's kind of a shit attraction. Right. But on the other hand, it's kind of an impressive attraction because it all takes place in basically a little bit more than the footprint of the It's Tough to Be a Pug theater. So when you think about how tight those turns are and how much heavy lifting they're doing in such a small footprint, it's impressive. But most people don't care about that when they're like, bro, I flew out here from Ohio, bought a hotel room, and that's what I got for standing in the line for 55 minutes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Now here's the thing too. I want to ask you this too, Bricky, because James Cameron's a big 3D guy. I mean, really, we can really attribute a lot of the Avatar movie's success to the 3D element of it.
100%.
Right? I mean, that's probably why these movies made $2 billion.
Dude, that first one, I kid you not. The 3D was so good on that first one in IMAX that I remember watching it, and I ducked once when a character went underneath I ducked because I didn't want to hit my head on the branch, And I swear to you, I was eating popcorn and there was like ashes and embers, and I went like this because I didn't want it to get into my popcorn. So like twice it got into the psychology of my brain of, what does my brain know? Duck, you're going to hit your head. Like, that's an instinctive thing that I do. And also, here comes fire. You're eating food. Get it out of there because you love food more than you love fire. So it got two like animal instincts out of me. But if James Cameron were to be told, like, hey, we can go 3D on your new attraction, but here's the problem. It limits the shapes and the scopes of the screens that we can use. And also, we feel we're 5 or 6 years away from having a Navi guide that's in the water next to your boat that is showing you the way to the water or whatever, whatever storyline they come up with.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that Avatar is basically Native Americans makes the whole thing depressing, like just like, what a reminder of how shit we are. So, but don't you think that if they told James, like, hey man, yeah, 3D was sick, bro, when you did it in your first one, like, don't you think if they were to tease him, like, hey, we just want to give you a demo of where we see the rides to go, and we believe this is a possible upgrade for the attraction we're theming after your IP, roughly around 2035.
Yeah.
I think James would be like, I'm all in.
Oh yeah, James goes big. He goes big.
He looks forward.
Yep, he's a forward guy, and he's definitely going to go for the new thing, the new tech, the new, you know. So it definitely won't be this attraction. I agree with you. Will definitely not be your standard 3D fare. You're not just going to sit in a boat with 3D glasses. If there's any kind of goggles, it'll be something like what you were talking about, where it's completely new.
And the thing about where we're at with video boards too, is that the resolution is so intense. And now that they've figured out ways to, literally make the screen curve all around you, like they no longer have to figure out where they're going to hide the rectangle, and that's where the video board is. Right. Did you happen to see Jack over at DSMY's breakdown of the Lion King attraction come into Gay Paris?
I did not see that one. No,
bro. he got a hold of the blueprints.
Wow.
Jack's a great designer, a great graphic designer, and he basically took the blueprints and walks you through it scene by scene. And one of the things that he picked up on, because he's got a really great eye for detail, is these massive video boards that are going to basically be like through the entire thing. And according to his interpretation of the blueprints, and I'd trust him as much as I'd trust anybody, they all had like a curvature to them. So they all had kind of a wrap. So like when your vehicle's going this way, the screen goes that way with you too. So the entire time you're in that vignette, you're hugged by that projection the entire time. So there's never like a hard cutoff moment. And when you take that screen and you put real world animatronics and props in front of it, what a better way to make Simba and the crew look like they're really there than to actually have the sunset and the wind and the clouds moving behind them on that video board. And there's no way you could ever do any of that with like, physical props. So I'm a big fan of the screens when used properly, and for anybody who thinks the screens lower the Disney magic, I'll give you a quick example of it. I go to the park by myself more than anybody. And when I'm there by myself, I'm always in the act of creation and observation. I love hearing what people have to say and what they're into because it helps me understand the park better through their eyes. So little boy, maybe 6 or 8, maybe 6 years old. I would be a horrible carnival barker. I have no idea how old kids are. Okay. But like 6, I would put it this way. I don't think he shit his pants. So he gets on the transport ship, right? And, we spin around and that door opens up and the first order is that the first order?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Their names are so confusing too.
I know. Yeah. Cause it's different than the original trilogy. And
yes.
all that.
Yes. That what timeline am I in? So the first order officer comes in and like tells everybody to get off. And the little kid looks over the door. And he bought the illusion because they go, hey, man, you got to get off. And his mom and dad like, come on, let's go. And he goes, I can't go out there. Right. They go, what do you mean you can't go out there? We're going to go ride the ride. He goes, I can't breathe in space.
I love it.
And I was like, I love him. I love this kid so much. But he looked over. He saw the stormtroopers. He saw the intimidating first order officer. But the thing that got him was seeing that big opening. And in his mind, he's like, if I get sucked through that, or if that's space, I don't breathe in space. Everything I've seen has told me that I don't breathe in space. And like, that's the power of the video board and Disney magic on the young mind.
Oh, I love that story, Bree. That is so good. That is so good. Well, and the cool thing too, with all these things that they kind of like all these new attractions and what have you, like for example, Mickey and Minnie's, right?
Yeah.
That technology now can be utilized in different ways for something like Avatar, the new ride we're getting out here in California. And the way you utilize it, because I know a lot of fans get stuck in this thing where it's like, well, no, that technology is too cartoony. It's like, no. That technology is cartoony for that attraction, but they can change that up and they can have a really cool looking scene for Avatar and do some really cool stuff with it, or even with the Lion King attraction or what have you. So all the stuff that Imagineering kind of picks up along the way with all these new rides, they can kind of utilize pieces of that in the new stuff, Yeah,
it's like people forget that it takes a while for technology to get to where it's going to go. So let's go back to the origins of Pixar, right? Toy Story was designed to be about toys because they knew at that moment they could not animate a human being that wouldn't drift awfully in the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
They knew that they would look weirder than they looked real, and that would be off-putting. So they needed to come up with characters. So the idea of animating toys that all have different proportions and different kind of perspectives that you would never confuse Buzz or Woody for a real person. So because they're so animated, they weren't off-putting, but we barely saw any of the humans in there. And when we did, it was very, very disturbing. And they used them almost like, Charlie Brown's parents talking in the other room. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. So what they did with Pixar is they worked with where the technology was at. It was easier to do the toys, and they challenged themselves. I mean, if you think about the cycle that goes, hear me out. The one guy's a cowboy, but the other guy's a spaceman. So when he puts the plastic dome over his head, we not only got to show you what he's looking at, but his reflection in the glass. And they're like, do you want to make this any more harder for us?
Right.
Can you make this more difficult for us? So they pushed it where they could, but they knew their limitations. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is like, okay, we got this idea. Let's do it on an animated property where the stakes are small and the failure point is relatively shallow. But after we get this figured out, is there a way where we could do a Marvel scene where Hulk throws somebody through a wall, that wall transforms in front of you to show the action of what's happening, and then all of a sudden all the digital projections are on something completely different? Like, is there a way to use this technology to have Doctor Strange actually portal a hole in something that your ship just went through? Like, now we're moving up the belt with these different technologies, you know?
Right.
So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret on the video that I'm putting up on the channel on Sunday. They just filed permits to upgrade the projectors for the Matterhorn. Now, most people don't know where the projector for the Matterhorn's at. It's kind of hidden in this weird little spot. I showed it to people before they could watch all my videos. But this is why people will go, yeah, who cares? New projector. All right, well, let me put it to you this way, Slick. The projectors on the castle are so good. And all of the characters are like crystal clear HD. And when they stay in one scene, because they love to go from thing to thing to thing, because it hides a lot of the imperfections.
Right.
When they really boil into one scene at a time, they can make that castle kind of feel like whatever they want to. Now, imagine if the Matterhorn had also a very high definition projector at the same quality, like the projectors they're using over in Galaxy's Edge that are able to combat that rocky surface and do some very transformative storytelling. So let's imagine that you have a great projector now on the Matterhorn. What would it be like if everybody's standing in the hub once they got to Act 2 of that night show, where they've kind of already done this little trick, that little trick? Now you're in Act 2 or Act 3. They got to give you another magic trick to re-stimulate your brain to bring you back into the story. And what if all of a sudden there was stage A, which is Sleeping Beauty, and stage B, which is the Matterhorn? And what if those two vignettes started talking to each other? What if there was a character on the mountain talking to a character on the castle, and they were both at the same quality, and all of a sudden you're in the hub and you have to literally go left to right to watch the whole conversation?
Great.
The projector that there's today can't do this, but the next projector might. And that's what you always got to think about. What can the next projector do? But fans get so into and it's weird with fans. Yeah. It's either like, it can never do it, or they could do everything. And they only go the opposite of which way that you go. As the guy who just said, trust me, you don't want Tron at Disneyland. And I gave you all the reasons why. People are like, yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they could like dig it down deeper. They could make it like have us, you know, it doesn't have to be right. Like you said, it could break here. They could still do it if they wanted to do it. I'm like, okay, dude, I already explained to you that the track is that big because it goes that fast and it only lasts 60 seconds. I also explained to you that if you want half the track, you're giving up half the space for a 30-second roller coaster. Right. These will be the same people like, I can't believe I bought a lightning lane for that, and it's only 30 seconds. I told you back in 2025, jerk off.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, here's the other thing too. I want to throw at you, Bricky. Coco. Now we're dealing with Coco.
It's just not the same without George here. It's just Coco coverage is just not the same without George here.
It's not the same.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Sweet little Italian.
There he is. There he is.
Here's a problem, friends. And if you have a little Italian friend, save him because we lost ours. We kept telling him, like, George, you can't eat every mushroom. Eventually, you're going to get one that's going to, and he did. So,
you know,
R.I.P. little Coco.
Little Coco. You know, that Coco boat ride. Now we're dealing with some, you know, some space back there, right? But what if, and our good friend, you know, Drew the Disney dude, he was on the show a few months back, and he had this cool idea where, you know, dealing with a limited space, what if the boat ride, you know, kind of went around, but the scenes changed or whatever, right?
Yeah. Kind of like on the new Frozen attraction where the door spins around and it's Anna and Elsa, and you get to see both of the Indigo girls, but in one set. Yeah, I mean, that was a really, like, it's kind of like Carousel of Progress for the next
Right.
generation, right?
Right.
And I kind of always thought that that's where the trackless rides were going to go, into giving people different adventures, different sort of little things. And you know, the thing that Shanghai Pirates of the Caribbean basically created, for those people that don't know, is a trackless boat ride. And you go, hold on. How do you do a trackless boat ride? Well, it's easy. Well, it's not easy, but they figured it out. Basically, the way that the boat works on Pirates, you're attached basically in a canal. And the canal uses little jets and bumpers and treads to keep pushing you in the same direction. What they did differently with Shanghai is the boat actually has magnets on the bottom of it. And sometimes the magnets are attached to a certain part of the attraction that can alter the direction of the boat, send it in a different direction, place it somewhere, make it spin around. And once that scene is done, then the magnets release their grip, and then the boat goes back on nature's natural path of wherever the stream's taking it. So in the instance of a Coco attraction, if they really wanted to maximize it out, they could do what ICP always says: magnets. How do those work? And make the boat work way different than something like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, where you start at A and you end up back at Z. So, I mean, something like that would be just awesome. But I do feel like with Coco, it's replacing Monsters Inc., right? Like, they're basically taking Family Dark Ride and swapping it out for Family Dark Ride. Arguably, I think a property that resonates better with Southern California, its demographics, and I think something that will be one of those things like, hey man, when you go to DCA, you got to do Radiator Springs. You also got to go see the Coco boat ride. Like, that's where my expectations are at.
Yeah.
But I do think that they need to, like, up the ante on this one. You know, if they just do Latino Tangled, I think they're going to be in a bad spot.
They got to get ambitious. They got it,
Yeah.
because DCA is short on really impressive like family rides.
Yeah.
And we're short on space too. So when you do build something, it has to really count.
For sure. I mean, there's only so many moves on the chessboard, you know, and you have to think that they have something really good worked up, because they're like making their life harder, right? Like, to make this attraction, they're giving up backstage facilities. It's not like, hey, we could do better than Ariel, let's swap it out for something else. You know, that's just like, they spend money, but their park still runs the same way. Right. The backstage spaces that they're giving up for Coco is going to make their jobs work differently. They're basically, have to redo the entire back end of the park, the security gates, all of the different things that the grading on the sidewalk. I mean, that project starts from the edge of property and works its way in, which just goes to show it better be a pretty damn good idea for all the sacrifices they're putting in. But the last time we saw that park go beyond its original footprint, we got Radiator Springs.
True.
Right? That's the last time that they actually made the park bigger. I mean, obviously, when the new Avengers area opens up, that's also expanded the park. But the Avengers that we got, the Avengers hallway that we have now, was just new set dressing. But when they actually blew out the back end of that park and we got Radiator Springs, we got the thing that I think is what makes that park so special.
100%. Well, and the genius of Radiator Springs is how it also kind of creates a berm for DCA with that beautiful rock work. I mean, it blocks out the outside. It's really perfect, Yeah, I love what they did there. That whole team that did DCA 2.0 was absolutely genius.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Buena Vista Street and putting the old Hollywood in there and making it just feel more like it was a contemporary of Disneyland versus a whole different thought bubble. Yeah, that was really cool. And Radiator Springs is just going to go down forever as a top tier land. And Radiator Springs Racers is just, I mean, it's by far, for my money, the absolute best attraction in that park. Yeah.
And that Buena Vista Street, we talked about it on your channel. Great live show. Make sure everyone check it out at home. You talked about how Disney's kind of tapping into their own IP, right? The Disney story. And Buena Vista Street is sort of like the beginning of that, where they were kind of dipping their toe into like, it's LA, but it's like Walt's version of LA, right? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, and that was one of the things that I think that they realized in their failures of DCA, is that the number one argument was that there wasn't enough Disney in it, And the fact that they took that challenge on and said, okay, so yeah, we're not just going to plaster characters everywhere. We're also going to give you the adult version of Disney, which is the Disney history, the Disney legacy, the Walt version of Disney, not just the Mickey version of it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool. And in that video you and I did, I kind of dropped one of my theories that is kind of the story that ties DCA and Disneyland together. And the reaction in the chat was so big. I'm like, I think that's a video that I need to shoot cinematically. So that's on the list of like that little conversation you and I had, that birthed the idea of a video that I'm like, okay, how do I film this as beautifully as possible? And I realized it's going to take like 4 trips to the park to make that video sing. But I feel like that could be a really, that could be one that people watch and just go,
I'm telling you,
someone's chopping onions.
when you, and I'm going to have everyone watch that live.
Yeah.
Don't say it here. I want them to go over to your channel and check it out. Because that theory or that description of the two parks.
Yeah.
I got literally got goosebumps with that explanation. I was like, this is crazy. And it's like, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if this is just like a really happy accident, but man, that works, dude. It's
either a brilliant design on their end or a brilliant observation on my end.
Yes.
It's one or the other, but it's a very interesting way where there's secretly like a very fanciful through line, a thread that connects the two parks in a way that I've never heard anybody else verbalize. And you know, I've had that in my, thank you. I've had that in my pocket for a handful of years. And I told it to a friend of mine who works for VIP tours. And then he hit me up one day, goes, can you explain that to me one more time? Because I want to start telling people that on tour.
I love it. So he's doing that now?
I mean, I don't know. I can't say. But I do know is that's like, could you tell me that one more time?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, while we're in DCA and while we're talking 3D, and we got some news the other day that SOARIN is gonna have a new movie, right?
Yeah.
SOARIN Over America for the 250th birthday. Before we dive into the SOARIN Over America thing, do you think that this attraction will ever get 3D? I'm kind of surprised it hasn't, but I don't know.
It would be such a mistake because what makes it so good? Okay, so here's the problem with 3D and glasses in general. They do make your world feel a little bit smaller because they put a border on your vision, right? And so a lot of people don't know this, but the reason why I wear sunglasses a lot of my videos and sometimes at night in my videos is that I have 2 prosthetic lenses in each of my eyes. I basically have a little tiny disc that sits where my lens used to sit in my eye, and it looks like a record. And each groove on the record is a different magnification. And my brain had to learn how to look through this little disc to figure out how far away I'm looking to hit the proper magnification. It's like having portrait mode inside your fucking head. It's crazy.
Wow, that's wild.
The downside of it, though, is when you see me in videos at night and I don't have the glasses on, and I always wear glasses in the evergreen video. I don't do it in vlogs because they don't last forever. But in an evergreen video, I'll always wear sunglasses at night because the light bounces off your eye, but it goes inside of mine like a cat's eye, and it's very off-putting to some people. So I say all this because I had severe vision problems, friends. So I wore glasses every minute of my life for a long time. And when you get into a SOARIN and you're looking around your frames, you still feel limited. And I'm telling you guys that I got my surgery done and I no longer needed to wear glasses when the second Avengers film came out, the Endgame one. And I watched a movie for the first time as an adult in 3D. No, not in 3D. I watched it. It was at the IMAX. No, was it at the IMAX? I don't know. I just remember that I watched it on that Thursday night when it opened up, and I watched it on the big screen. And it was the first time as an adult that I got to watch an Avengers movie, and I didn't have to have glasses on. And the screen felt huge to me because I was always looking around something. So I share this personal story because the beautiful thing about SOARIN is how the screen wraps around you. And then your chair or your row is designed to pulse in and pulse out, swing up, swing down. with 3D goggles on, even though like, oh, that golf ball's going to hit me. I don't know that that's worth the all of being able to do this.
Oh yeah.
And literally look all around you, and your entire environment is telling you you are soaring over a California, soaring over the world, or soon soaring over America.
Beautifully said. And I completely agree with you on that. It does. It limits the experience. And for something like SOARIN, it's so vast and big. And you just get, so that's the beauty of that attraction.
Yeah.
Is how massive it is.
It's not Star Tours where we're basically looking at, I don't know, like a 12-foot TV.
Yeah.
Because the Star Tours is just like a big flat TV hidden behind, you know, the window in the transport with C3PO on the other end to give you that depth trick. You know, there's something in front of it that pushes it back, makes our brain feel like it's more like a window, but it's flat. It's basically like a TV. Yeah. The SOARIN Theater is, you know, well, let's look at technology. Somebody made the SOARIN Theater. You know, that attraction opens up in 2001. So somebody was thinking about how do we we've already got IMAX. You know, and think about it. There's the movie screen that goes to IMAX, then there's SOARIN, how we wrap people in it. And then somebody else goes, what about we make a thing called the Sphere? You know what I mean? Like it just, each one of these things steps on the next. So when you look at the Sphere, which is a totally transformative space, you wouldn't have that if you didn't have screens like SOARIN first, you know? Yeah. So there's no reason to do 3D in the Sphere. There's no reason to do 3D in SOARIN because it's the fact that it envelopes around you is the magic trick on that, you know? Yeah. So like, it is cool to add different technologies together, but I hate Primus and I hate Rush because I hate a band where everybody's always playing a solo. You know, like in Primus, all three of them are just doing a solo at the same time. Rush, same thing. Geddy Lee may be an amazing bass player, but who would know with the other two guys playing over the top of them? So it's like, I like AC/DC. I like to keep a rhythm. You know what I mean? I like to keep a rhythm. And so when you put too many technologies into a piece of art, then they work against each other, which was kind of my argument with Web Slingers of like, because it has this, does it also need this? You know what I mean? Like, is it just one too many things?
No, well said, well said. Now we've had SOARIN over California, we've had SOARIN over the world, and now we have SOARIN over America. Is this going to be an ongoing thing for this attraction? Are we going to constantly see these kind of reimaginings of this attraction going forward? I'm actually really surprised we're getting a third, you know, like a 3.0 version at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting because you wouldn't think that they would have done it. But it also, I think, is kind of a little bit of admit defeat on nobody really cared about SOARIN over the world.
Yeah, that's true.
It's too, and you know, getting back to the Toy Story analogy, SOARIN over the world just felt too synthetic. But SOARIN over California, I mean, and you know, obviously we're all homers because it's where we live, and you get like that goosebump of like, man, I live in California. That's amazing. But SOARIN over the world was just, you know, from the bent Eiffel Tower to the CGI Taj Mahal to the, you know, the animated elephants. Like it just, maybe it's kind of like now there's technology where we can do it better because we don't have to make as many things synthetic, you know?
Yeah, no, well said. Do you think we're going to get a lot of that? Like, do you think this one's going to feel more natural than around the world? Do you think we're going to get more of a grounded, like kind of how California was? Or do you think we're going to get some of this wonky animation still?
I mean, I would hope that they would go back to more of an organic approach, just because think about where camera technology is right now, you know, and I mean, I'm sure there'll be video effects added to it, but if you take modern camera equipment that you can attach to a helicopter, and then you have some of these people paint over it and clean it up a little bit, I mean, you can make a hyper realistic version of something. But my question is this: SOARIN over California ends in Disneyland. SOARIN over the world ends at Disneyland if you're in California, but it ends at Epcot if you watch it in Epcot. Where will SOARIN over the world end? Or not America? Will SOARIN over America actually go to multiple Disney parks?
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
If they were going to make another version of it, they've already done California, they've already done the world, and they've already well, now they're doing America. I think the thing that would be the most enticing would be a soaring over the Disney parks, where they like, instead of going so high up, they go really, really in, and they just give you some of these views of like what it's like to fly from the Matterhorn over the castle. And, you know, like what it would be like to literally be a bird that just flies over World Showcase. And, you know, and I think for me, somebody who goes to Disneyland to get away from politics, and unfortunately, America's going to hit its 250th birthday in the most divided moment I've ever seen. I would rather do soaring over the Disney parks, because that's the place that gives me that emotional like lump in my throat. And I'm not expecting that from soaring over America. Like I'm really not excited about this news at all, because it's hard to celebrate a place that has masked officers in the street arresting people and not giving any ID or any proof. So it's hard to like be like, yeah, I'm all in 250, baby, when I kind of feel like I'm seeing it at its lowest point. So don't want to talk politics, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it does cross over, and it's like, yeah, man, like I'm kind of sitting at the 250. I'm just not like this just isn't a party that I'm really like excited for right now.
No, I feel that. I feel that. And I actually love your idea, because that taps into dude, you're like going off the Matterhorn.
Oh my God.
And then swooping in and all that. Like that taps into the nerdy curiosity. Cause you know, obviously we've never been able to do something like that. You know, I mean, the only people that really have is probably the gals who do Tinkerbell for the fireworks, you know, they can kind of see that every night, but you know, us, we don't get to experience that. That would be really, really sick. And like you said, you bring it lower. You don't go way up. You go really, you know, low to the ground, through the parks, through DCA.
I mean, some of these drone pilots, I mean, imagine literally for the first time in your life, being able to just go like 10 feet over the Storybook canals and then hooking a right and going around Fantasyland kind of from atop and going over to the Matterhorn. Or like, you know, maybe you go into the Matterhorn and then through darkness, they stitch out on the other side that you come out of Expedition Everest. And now we're like over that lake and we're going towards the Tree of Life, and we glide around the Tree of Life. And then as the sun's setting, we make it over to Pandora when it's in its bioluminescent, like, you know, miracle. I mean, you know, and then we fly out over to where the animals are at in the back, and then they stitch that over to, you know, a real lion to Simba over in Paris. Like, just think about, there's so many connected points where they could go to one destination and then stitch it over to someplace around the globe. I mean, my God, dude, getting to fly around that hub of China and how massive that all is, dude.
That'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. And that kind of speaks to what we've talked about on your channel, where Disney utilizing Disney as its own IP, where it's like, you know, we're going to use our own parks as an IP, basically. You know what I'm saying? And it's timeless. And they can always update it. Like maybe when, you know, certain parks get new lands, you can always add those in there and all that. But I think that's a great idea, man. I never even thought about that. And I think especially out here in California with our locals fan base, they would eat that up, dude.
I mean, the thing I love, don't get me wrong, I love soaring over California. And when my wife and I, you know, came out here and we found our house and we had keys in our pockets and we now officially lived in California, the very first thing we did was we went to Disneyland and we bought our passes. And Beth goes, "Can we afford this?" I go, "Well, I don't think we can afford not to buy the passes, because California's crazy expensive."
Right.
And we could go in our neighborhood and have one dinner, which costs as much as 2 passes, you know, 15 years ago. And I go, but the pass gives us unlimited nights. So if we're broke and we can't do anything else, we'll eat at home. We'll go down to the park. We'll take a lap. We'll sit on a bench. We'll watch the fireworks, or we'll go ride a ride or whatever. And we'll have unlimited entertainment for, like, you know, under $200 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that day that we got those passes, I said, let's go do it. And we rolled soaring over California, and we held hands with tears in our eyes, because we now lived in California.
I love it.
All of this was ours, right?
Yes. I love it.
So I love that ride. And that's one of my favorite Disneyland memories. But all that being said, the magic of joy that I feel And that final scene, when you go all through LA and it makes everybody feel sick, like LA does. Too bad they don't pump in the different chlamydia smells when they fly over LA. But when you get to that final scene and you see Main Street decorated for Christmas,
yes,
and Small World with its holiday lights on it, and then the fireworks over Main Street, you're just like, California's where I live, but Disneyland's my home.
oh, I love it, love it,
So good, dude.
It's beautiful, and I love dude. California has the best score too.
Yeah. Oh man,
you know?
It's in my mix for driving to the park.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Because when I get on the 605 and I put the Tesla in autopilot, and it's like perfect, dude. It's like, let's go, baby.
Let's do it. It gets you all hyped, ready to go. You know?
Oh my God, yeah.
I love it. Now, dude,
I say that all the time.
You actually nailed it, dude.
Hello.
I love it. I love it. Now let's dive in. Speaking of, California. I'm very curious about this, right? Like, what's going on with this? You've seen this, right? They've been doing some drone testing out there. I think in like Santa Clarita or what have you. I mean, it's interesting, right? At the Disney Ranch, like, what is going on here? What's your theories on this? Is this going to come to Disneyland Resort or maybe not? Or
all right, well, you may remember that last summer I was the author of a very unpopular video called "Drones at Disneyland." To where I went to Disney Springs, where last summer Disney was doing their first ever US-based drone show. It was sponsored by AT&T and it was absolutely free, and it happened twice nightly at Disney Springs. And I was so blown away that I stayed for the second showing because I'm like, man, we are looking at the future. So when I saw the drone show, and, I love going to other Disney parks, and I also love going to other theme parks, and I always try to bring it back to the Disneyland Resort. Like my hybrid video I did about the Simpsons at Disneyland, shot at Universal Studios, but also shot at Disneyland. So I love looking at other things and thinking about how will this affect the Disneyland Resort? And I don't know if we'll see drones inside of Disneyland because the fireworks are so popular and Disneyland doesn't really have the space. Okay. Because to do drones, you have to have two things: an open space for the show to happen that's not over people. And the drones have to have an open space to that space. So there's a launch pad and then there's a performance area. And there cannot be humans in either one of those two locations. So Disneyland is pretty much eliminated unless for whatever reason they wanted to put the drones on Tom Sawyer Island and have the drones go over the rivers of America, maybe making Fantasmic a truly 360-degree experience. That's the only place I can think of it at Disneyland. However, there is a spot where if they closed off one small walking area, the drones could go from backstage over the Paradise Pier Lagoon.
Oh, that would be cool. Because DCA could use something like this.
It could. And World of Color breaks down a lot and it's expensive. But if I had to put my money on drones at Disneyland, I would say that this is something that we should be earmarking. See what I did there? For whatever happens at the Toy Story parking lot. Because the Toy Story parking lot, and this is what I did in my video last summer, it will have to be nice to its neighbors. And I've even made graphics on where the drones will fly in, where they'll perform. And if you look at the concept artwork that Disney showed us, I have theories on that concept artwork. I'll leak one of those theories now. If you look at the concept artwork that we got for what they're going to do at the Toy Story parking lot, there's conveniently a body of water in the middle of that concept artwork. And there's also a little notch cut out where the drones could fly from backstage over to that body of water. So I believe if that is an indication of what they're going to build, and I do think it's a half indication, but it's also a half lie. I'm working on a video that's going to blow everybody's minds on what my theory is. I've shared it with OG, so he's doing a really good poker face right now. Because when I told him, he was like, holy shit. So I think that's where drones go here. But I'd love to know, these are my interpretations on where we're at right now in the future, where do you think drones could land at the Disneyland Resort?
It's tough. As I've heard they have airspace restrictions over Disneyland after
Yes.
9/11, right?
But
And all
that's,
that stuff.
I can squash that though. The air restrictions over Disneyland are for commercial and private flights so that somebody doesn't fly a plane into the park. However, Disney could get their own operational permit to fly over their park because they get granted permission all the time to do helicopter flyovers their park for filming. So that would have nothing to do with putting drones over the park. I just wanted to let you know that. So go back to your theory.
No, I love. I'm glad that you cleared that up because that's an ongoing like fan theory out there that we hear a lot. Like you can't do drones because they restricted airspace and this, that, and the other. So
no, that's nonsense.
Yeah. Okay. That's encouraging. That's encouraging. Yeah. I would love to see this come to Disneyland. I think the Phantasmic idea makes a lot of sense because we have seen them cut back a lot of the pyro.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the show a few weeks ago and there was literally no pyro.
Yeah.
The entire show. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I don't know if that's a temporary thing or what, but maybe they're thinking about doing something like this in lieu of pyro, you know? I don't know. Another theory I had, we talked about pre-show tonight, was maybe this is going to be the nighttime entertainment for the story living community. Because I know they were going to incorporate some Disney into that whole thing. And I know fans probably don't want that to happen, but I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility.
Can we park there for a second though?
Yeah.
I'd love to break this down because it's an interesting theory. So for those that don't know, Catino is going to, when it finally gets going, it's going to kind of be multi-purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it lays on planet Earth. So I'm just going to use, north and south, but pretending that south is where the fans will go. So essentially there's a Home Depot on the corner. Across the street from the Home Depot is going to be where they're going to build like a downtown Disney type vibe. They're going to put hotels there and restaurants. So that half, the Home Depot half, or like corner of Cotino, will be basically what we'll refer to for this conversation as the daily ticket audience. You buy a daily ticket or daily pass. You can, anybody can show up and shop and eat at the restaurants. That's not going to be like, you have to go through security, but you could eat at the restaurants. You could shop. That's open to everybody. But to get in that beautiful turquoise lagoon, you need to be staying at the hotel or you need to buy a day pass and you'll be able to swim on that beach. The beach in the desert is just like only Disney could pull this off. But the other 75% of that is going to be condos, single family homes, and multi-family dwelling spaces. So a nighttime show over that lagoon makes sense because you don't want to put fireworks over that thing because I'm sure the filtration system on that thing is like gnarly and it is expensive because that thing is beautiful. So the nighttime show would be for the people that are at Cotino's Downtown Disney and would also be for the people that bought a hotel. But do all of the residents want the light spill of the drones and that music playing at 9:30 and 10:30 every night when it's mostly a senior retirement community?
That's true. That's true. Because they're in bed by the time Wheel of Fortune comes on TV, right?
Those old rich fucks are going to bed at the sunset. You know what I mean? So I don't know that theory pans out when we look at it that way. And I'd also like to go on record to let everybody know I was the absolute first person to ever live stream at Cotino, because I think they announced it on a Tuesday and I was standing in the desert on a Saturday doing a live stream being like, where I'm standing right now will one day be a crystal green or what do they call it? There's a name for that technology, the crystal goon like technology or whatever. And it's so cool that Disney invited me back now that it's done, since I was the only person that ever covered it for the first year. I'm so excited that I got the invite to come out. I didn't get an invite.
I love it. When is that supposed to open, by the way? That coach.
It's already open. I mean,
it's already open? Okay.
They're already trying to sell houses. The housing prices have already jumped drastically, but also aren't selling fast. But the public, that postage stamp across from the Home Depot, where you and I will Cotino, that part is still, they haven't started that hotel. They're just getting the residents in there. They're trying to sell the houses. It's an interesting idea. Cotino is a licensing deal. So Cotino is as much Disney as Shanghai.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? So Disney designed it. They came up with the idea of it, and they're even going to have Disney staff that will run like the guest facing components of it. But there were private builders that came in that built all the homes. I believe there's going to be a private company that does the HOA and manages all that stuff. So Disney doesn't have to get involved in those politics. So it's basically Story Living is basically a licensing deal. And if you remember, this is something they just slid out when Disney was sitting on its balls during COVID and like burning money, you know? So Bobby Chapstick was like, I have an idea how we can make some money. We can sell apartments. Well, but I will point this out. I'll point this out real quick and then I'll let you go. But for everybody who goes, well, they did Cotino and it failed. Hey, Celebration and it failed. Celebration is sick.
Yeah.
Celebration is no failure by a long stretch. I got friends that live there. I've stayed there before. I try to go to Celebration on every Orlando visit. Like, Celebration is not a failure. Maybe it didn't do what they wanted to do, but it is not a failure. It's an amazing community. The design is awesome. The people are awesome. The vibe is great. Like, Celebration, for anybody who'll tell you like, oh, the time Disney failed making it a small town, that city is no failure, my friend.
Yeah, that's why I haven't been, but it looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
It's awesome. And when you have none other than the Woo showing you around, no stone is unturned. You see every stanchion.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I've actually met Adam once, and actually it wasn't even at Disney. It was at Universal Hollywood. I was walking. I said hi to him, and it was cool. He spent some time with me. He's like, "Oh, hey man, how you doing?" Da, 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 da. Yeah. Really nice dude. That was my only interaction with him, but he was great. Absolutely great.
Super nice guy. I mean, hung out with him enough to see his generosity, and he's a very, very authentic guy, and lives a completely unique lifestyle. You know, he's just if there's ever a guy that's life should be a TV show, it's Adam the Woo.
Yeah, that's great. Now he should do that one day, make a TV show.
I mean, he's been doing it for like 10 years.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he did that road trip stuff like a few years ago, huh? Where he was just on the road for like.
Oh, I mean, you know, Adam's a lot like the Howard Stern show in that, you know, Howard and Robin have been doing the show for like 40 something years.
Yeah.
And so when you talk to fans like, it's no good. It was only good. And then they'll tell you their idea of when the Stern show was good. Right. So Adam's now been doing the daily vlog for so long that there's just so many different buckets of fans that he has. So some fans will be like, oh, it's no good now. He just goes to theme parks and does this. I like when he was in the Winnebago. And then there's other fans that'll be like, well, I didn't really care for that, but I really liked when he lived in California. And, you know, and so it's like he's done it so long and he's met so many people that everybody gravitates towards their favorite little slice of it. But my man is resilient and he just keeps going and going and going. So you do anything long enough, people are going to kind of try to tell you when you were doing it best. But that's their opinion, you know? And it's like, he thinks what he's doing right now is the best because it's his life and it's the happiest he's ever been, you know? So it's interesting when people will tell, I mean, I've had people tell me about that, you know, if you're ever in a band, people always tell you, well, your best record was this record. I'm like, dude, I was near suicide when I wrote that record. So I'm glad you were so happy with my misery, you know?
Oh my gosh. That's wild, man. That's wild. Yeah. It's he does some great content, man. And he's been, like you said, he's been in the game for a real long time.
Oh yeah.
You
know? And that dude loves the Disney parks. I mean, he loves the Disney parks.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Great guy.
Really good guy. Shout out to Mr. Woo. Bricky, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's always a good time.
Yeah, man.
Stop with you, dude. Really good time.
We ripped some topics tonight.
Dude, we did. We got into it. We got it 3D. We did SOARIN. We did the drone stuff. A lot of great stuff. But you're always welcome back very, very soon. Where can everybody find you on social media?
They can just find me on the YouTube. They can find me over on Hey Bricky or on the Bricky Vlog. I don't mess around with the other ones. I put all my eggs in the YouTube basket because it's the basket that pays.
You know, I love YouTube as well. I feel like I'm too old for TikTok. Like, I don't get it.
Nah, here's the problem, man. Like, the kids always will discover something and then the old folks will slide in too. So TikTok's demos are wildly old and young because, like, Real kids, like kids that are like really down, they're still on Snapchat, man, because they don't want any trail of who they're finger banging and what they're getting into, man. Like, so that's where kids are at. Like, someone's like, oh, TikTok's a bunch of kids. I'm like, dude, the real kids are on Snapchat because they don't want a trace.
They're not trying to get canceled, huh? Later on.
Yeah, no, they're not trying to catch a case, man. They're just trying to be out there and be young and dumb like we all were once. Thank God there wasn't a camera following me.
Oh man, I tell you, yeah, we've all been stupid when we were younger, and yeah,
dude.
But we didn't have the social media when we were kids, like not like this at least. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I had none, and when I was a kid, I mean, we didn't have carrier pigeons when I was a kid.
I remember logging into AOL dial-up to get my Disney news, bro. I mean, that was.
Oh, dude. I was full on an adult the first time I heard that noise. So yeah, yeah. I remember a friend being like, "So here's the deal." It was a roommate. It's like, "Here's the deal. If you give me $7.95 a month, you can have an email address." I'm like, what do I want an email address for? He's like, you know, when you go on tour, you can meet people and you can give them your email and they can write you. I'm like, I don't want anybody I meet on tour ever writing me. I want that shit to stay on the road, brother.
Right, exactly. That's fantastic. Ricky, always a good time. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode of OG55. Check out Bricky. His YouTube channels are in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, see you later. Hope you all enjoyed the show. A fantastic episode with the one and only Hey Bricky. But before we get out of here, I want to share some stuff with all of you today. A good friend of the channel, Jared, the one and only Jared from Capture the Magic, has a really great t-shirt apparel store. Hey, look, we're all nerds here, right? We're all really nerdy. We like all this theme park stuff, right? Well, this apparel store is absolutely amazing. If you use OG55 as your promo code, you will get 10% off your purchase. Like this fine shirt right here, the backside of water. And we also have an amazing friend of the channel, the one and only, the very lovely Miss Mimi Fan. Follow her on Instagram, follow her on YouTube, links down below. If you're looking for fantastic food in the LA or OC area, Vietnamese food, Korean barbecue, boba places, just fun spots to go in this area. You know what? We all need a little something different, right? I mean, we love theme parks, but sometimes you want to try something new. Mimi Fan is absolutely your girl. And I love the air chopsticks every single time. That is classic Mimi right there. She's amazing. Make sure you follow her. Check her out in the description down below.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today. Mwah.